Hey everybody, welcome to the channel. This time I'm going to show you something that I did in Tableau. It's actually based on a real-world experience, a functionality that I discovered recently that helped to solve a problem I was having with one of my dashboards in terms of a search functionality. So I'm just going to dive right into this. What you see in front of you is an Excel file with some data in it. It's got a bunch of IDs and along with a combination of majors, minors, or certificates that have been awarded to each of these IDs. I'm going to zoom in a little bit so you can see that a little more clear. So each record has that student ID, right? This is all the identified information, of course. And inside column number B, we have the list of majors, minors, or certificates that were awarded or assigned to each of these students, right? In no particular order. We've got, for example, this particular student graduated with a certificate in aerospace engineering as well as a bachelor's in engineering in mechanical engineering and a secondary major in computer science. So what I want to do is use this data that has been wrangled beforehand. And if you are interested in finding out how I did this using Excel Power Query, please reach out to me. So this data is all ready to be entered in Tableau. And what I want to do, the focus of this is to be able to allow the user to search using a string or a text that they type into a box. And what they get after they hit enter is going to be a list of those students who have at least part of that major in that text box. Open up Tableau Desktop. Go and retrieve that sample file that you've created. I happen to have it on my desktop. Yeah, and we can start. Just go to sheet 1 directly and compile all of the information that you need. So I know that I want to show major pairings for all students or entities in that field, and I'm going to choose a tabular view. All right, so I'm going to set the ID measure as a count distinct in this particular case and bring it back up to a tabular view. So what I'm seeing here is basically a list of all of those major pairings or combinations of majors along with a total count of each entity. You can name your sheet if you want. Just going to go ahead and give it a name, major pairings. All right, so the focus of this is to allow the user to enter some piece of the information that they're seeing here under major pairings, hit enter, and then get back just the data that they're interested in. How do you do this? Well, it's a combination of a parameter and a calculated field. First, let's start off with building the parameter. So I'm going to go click here, create new parameter, give it a name, select pairing, or actually select major or minor. The data type in this case has to be a string because that's the information that you're looking for. It is a string text. We can leave current value as it is. Click OK. The next thing you want to do is create a calculated field and give it a name. I'm going to name it calc selection. Right? I like to add CALC dot before my calculated field just because it's easier for me to go back and look at everything that I have created in terms of calculations or expressions. There are other ways to look for calculations, of course, if you use that, the filter option up here, and then you can sort based on the type of columns, fields, or calculations that you have. So if I, for example, wanted to filter by all my calculations, I'd click on this little pipeline and select calculation, dimension, measure, etc., etc. All right, so I'm going to start by adding a quick comment here for the sake of giving myself an explanation of what it is that this field is doing. And then I'm going to start off, create a really basic formula with the contains function. All right, I'm going to look first at the parameter that I've created, select major or minor, follow that after the comma, I'm going to enter the substring. So the substring in this case is, first of all, it looks at the input, which is determined by that string parameter that we've entered. Second of all, it's looking at whether or not the information that the user has typed is actually, it's included in that column that we are getting the data from. So in this case, the column is major pairings. I'm going to go ahead and add major pairings to this. Click OK. All right, so I'm not done yet. Nothing is happening. What we have to do here is go ahead and show the parameter. And I'm going to go ahead and move that over there. Right now, there's a number 1 in here, but that value is going to change. And then we go ahead and we put in that calculation right inside our filters panel. So currently, the value that you're seeing is false. So the reason this is happening is because it's looking at the parameter value that's been entered, which is currently a 1, as you can tell. Okay, so just go ahead and click OK on this one. And this is reasonable because odds are, well, certainly they are, that there is no number 1 value inside any of the values under the major pairings column. Now, if I go ahead and I remove that completely, go ahead and press delete, click enter, right? That list is just cleaned out completely. I'm going to go ahead and open that filter column, and I see that this is still set to false. I wonder why that is. So I actually did this on purpose, tricked you a little bit here. So the truth is that there is an error with the calculation. So let's go back and dissect it a little bit. So the contains function, right, it includes a string and a field, right? So what happened here is I reversed the parameter with the field or column, right? So what it's doing now is it's looking at the calculation first before designating whether or not the value being entered is, actually exists within that particular field. So this is a really quick fix. We just turn these two around, right? So we do major pairings and then look at that value first, then select a parameter, click OK. And in this instance, we go back to our filter, we edit it, we set it to true, click OK. Now what you see is the entire list of our major combinations or major pairings. And if I go ahead and I test out this parameter and I want to say, well, I want to look at every single combination that includes music, and I hit enter, this is what I get, right? And I do the same thing for, let's say, chemistry. And, anything that you write in the string, it's in the string value, it's going to look for it. AB2, which stands for secondary major in arts and sciences. Biomedical, get rid of that. There. So this is the solution that I found out, and it's really helpful. It allows you to give a little bit more power to to a user and be able to actually type some things out and look at fields or columns that may contain one or more of the values that they're seeking. Thank you for watching.